ungesättigt mit das Neigesehene, geht Moisheke weg heim. Satisfied with this new thing that he had seen, Moisheke went home. Nor der dembene Teuer von a gegenüber auf der Schulgas lost him mehr nicht zurück. But the oak gate across the road in the Schulgas doesn't, he constantly thinks about it. Von demnächst an hat sich dort vernadert. From that time onwards, he was lured towards it. Und wenn das Tirol in dem dembenem Teuer ist nicht offen, öffnet es Pavolia auf allein. And when the oak gate is not open, he slowly opens it himself. Stellt herein a Fissele, leuert und sieht als nahe und nahe Chidushim. He puts in his foot into the into the hoif, he crouches, and he constantly sees new surprises. Azoi lemoshel hat in a Woche rum der Zen in Boris Hoif a heuchen Goi mit a grünem Kapeluschel auf einem gegolten Kopf und mit a hinnersche Federal reingesteckt in Stenge von Kapeluschel. So that's how, for example, a week later, he saw in Bora's yard a tall goy with a green hat, little hat on his shaven head, and with a chicken feather stuck into the ribbon of the hat. Moisheke wollte gekannt schweren, als der Goy hat das ausgerissen bei Mumescheres Rabber Hun von Eck. Moisheke could have sworn that this Gentile had torn out the feather from the spotted hen, the spotted hen's tail, the hen that belonged to the Mumeshtera. Der Speichler in Hof ist schon ein Zind gewinn halbledig. The warehouse in the yard was already half empty. Anstatt die Hurbes Paklio und Flachs seinen dorten gewinn ungehäuft a sach lange vierkantige Peck wie goyischke Trumnes. Instead of these piles of hemp and flax, there were heaped up many long square parcels that looked like Gentile coffins. Der Goy mit dem Kapeluschel ist gestanden bei einem englischen Vogue mit einer Bücherle in Hand. The Gentile with the hat stood next to an English scale with a little book in his hand. Zwei Bonim trugen alle Weile zu an eingeschnürten Pack mit gepresster Paklia. So Boris' two sons every now and then brought a tied up parcel of compressed hemp, legen das Ruf auf ein grünem Flügel von Vogue und bohre die größten Augen, stellt dagegen das Gewicht auf einen kleineren Flügel. So they place the sons place these packages on the green plate or base of the scale, and Bora of the big eyes looks at the weight on a smaller, and I think this Fligel means like a dial.
Probably.
Well, but there are two Fligels here. There's the Grünem Fligel, and then there's a kleineren Fligel.
Yeah,
I'm
but
wondering whether the way this scale is set up is that they put the flax on one side on a kind of base, and then Boris is putting weights on the other side, a smaller Fligel, and that's how the hemp is weighed for sale. That's the way
Yeah.
I worked.
okay,
Yeah.
that could be.
Yeah, it's hard to know exactly, but that's
Yeah.
one way of
Because
looking.
The first Fligel looks
It's
as
the
though it's
hem.
a flat piece of metal,
Yeah,
and the second
other one
Fligel is smaller.
it's smaller, and he puts
Yeah.
the weights on, and then they know what the weight of the hemp is that's being sold.
Okay,
Maybe.
right. Aber der Goy verlässt sich nicht übrig auf den Jiden. Guckt gut noch und ist beudig jeder Gewicht und Gewichtele. But the Gentile doesn't overly trust the Jew, and he watches very carefully and checks each weight and each weight and little weight.
Mhm.
Dennoch wart op bis der Meschene Zingele von Vogue gleichen sich aus und verschreibt in Bichele. And thereafter he waits until the little tongue of the scale stops moving perhaps,
Mhm.
or stops moving, and he writes it down in a little book. Chapt Bora die große Augen a Pinsel und schmiert auf mit roter Farbe a großen Nummer auf ein gewogenem Pack. So then Bora of the big eyes takes a little paintbrush, and he paints in big red, with red paint, a big number on the weighed parcel. Und der Deutsch guckt noch und verschreibt weiter in Bichele. And the German watches him, and he once again writes in his little book.
Mhm.
Der Wunder von Moscheke ist das, was der Goy redt Yiddish, aber a Sach, a schlechteren Yiddish wie Palahaike, die Yiddische Wasserträger. The greatest wonder, surprise for Moscheke is the fact that the Goy speaks Yiddish, but a much worse Yiddish than Palahaika, the water drawer. Baharaya, and this is what he means. Vinor chapt dem Iden by Epis Fellerel, zerschreit sich auf ihm mit Golle Passachen. As soon as he discovers a little error on the part of the Jew, he shouts at him with these flat Pasach sounds. Aber leuben mir mal. But excuse me. Und feilt sich a Hort nicht, beigt sich herab mit dem Kapeluschel und hinnischen Federal und tappt über alle Gewichten. And he spares no effort and bends down with his little hat with the chicken feather in it, and he touches all the weights. Verschämt sich Bora die große Augen und stellt herein ein Wort. So Bora of the big eyes is embarrassed, and he
And he says, you don't have to
and he says, yeah,
read it word for word.
yeah, and he says, is zerschrocken und untertänig. He is afraid and he's submissive. Nicht wie a Seucher, was verkauft Scheure, nor wie a Mesharis mitten Balabos. Not like a trader who sells goods, but like an employee with the boss. Starret sich reden mit dem Goy mit Heule Passachen, aber kommt bei ihm raus, weißt euch, Pidrich. He tries very hard to speak to the Gentile with these flat sounds. But what comes out, it seems, are Pidrich answers at cross purposes or evasiveness. Warum der Goy mit dem grünen Kapeluschel guckt unbeslich dem Jiden und singt heraus mit einer langen Passach. Because the Gentile with the green hat looks angrily at the Jew, and he sings out with these long, flat sounds. Wie meinen Sie? What do you mean?
May I interrupt a minute?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Not that it's that important, but I want to ask you, you translated Re'aya?
Yeah.
This is what as far as I remember from the Talmud, and it's also Hebrew and Aramaic, Haraya is, and this is the evidence. Is that so?
Yeah.
Yeah, Raya in Hebrew is and this is the evidence, and this is how the Talmudic sages speak. That's what I remember from a little bit Talmud that I studied.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay. So I'd like to read the next paragraph as well, if you don't mind.
Yeah, you can read the whole thing.
Okay, so wie meinen Sie, what do you mean? Guckt sich Moshe herum, wo ist da die sie? So Moshe looks around and asks himself, where is she? Und sieht kein Simmen nicht von einer Käfer. And he doesn't see any sign of a woman. Gabt sich bald, als der Goy, was redt Jiddisch, muss seiner Deutsch von Boris Deutschen. So he understands immediately that this Gentile who speaks Yiddish must be a German, one of Boris' Germans. A Theater mit sein Yiddish. It's a comedy as far as his Yiddish goes. Bei Jorente Yid mit a Bord heißt Gor bei ihm sie. An elderly bearded Jew with Bora is, but with the German is called she.
Mhm.
And of course, the Z in German is the polite form for a stranger, like ihr in Yiddish.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's using that. Ah,
Yeah, so it's a humorous. Okay,
sort of.
sort of, yes.
You
Right.
decide where you want to stop.
Okay, I'm happy to stop here.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, Nechama.
Der Tate, wie der Tate. The father, okay, the father is like the father. Bora weist, als redt schlecht Deutsch und stammelt und weigert sich mit Pesachim. The father, Boris, knows that he speaks a very poor Deutsch and he stammers and chokes on these Pesachim. Chutzpahdik seinen nur Boris's beide Bonim, but quite chutzpahdik, how would you say that? Quite rough or aggressive are his two sons. They machen sich, you know, I would call them really a Shena Tachshit, these boys. Anyway,
Yeah,
they
well,
machen sich, als sie reden Deutsch wie Wasser und jeden Mal, wenn sie tragen zu einem geschnurrten Park mit Parklier, hacken sie dem Deutsch atscheinig. So they, I want to see where they were. They they make it out that they speak Deutsch like water, very fluidly, very easily. And every time that they bring over a tied up package with hemp, they disturb the, they disturb the Deutsch. They bother him. Tun sie a cook, welche Penka sie haben, Gold, nicht kein Scoria.
Schoire. Merchandise.
Yeah, look, give a look, Mr. German man. Look at these stems that they have. This is hemp. I have no idea what hemp looks like. I should have looked that up. This is gold. It's not merchandise. It's like gold that you're getting here. Aber der Deutsch is a mochel des ganz bissel Deutschmersch. But the German is forgiving their sort of their Deutschmersch, their Germanized Yiddish. Is that how you would say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fochet sich von sie, he waves them off mit beider undrollener hand, with two swollen hands. Ach, lassen sie doch. I don't know how to translate that. Go.
leave-
or
Leave this, leave it.
leave it, forget
Yeah, I
it.
think.
Und tappt weiter die Gewichtin, was Boris stellt, und verschreibt alles in sein Büchlein. And he taps again the weight that the father is putting down, and he writes everything in his little book. Is Moisheke weiter äußert sich? And again, Moisheke is just, he's beside himself. Bewundert den Deutsches Lachen. He is totally surprised by the German's language. Zwei gesunde Bocherin heißen bei ihm euch sie. He is two healthy young men are also called by him sie in what he considers the feminine form. Alle heißen bei ihm sie. He says everybody he is called in the feminine form. They are a very strange people, these Germans. Weiter hat Moisheke bemerkt, als wenn Bora die große Augen is in Heu, halten sich noch die Bonim seine mit a bissel derech Eretz. He also noticed, Moisheke noticed, this 8-year-old boy, that when Bora with the big eyes is in the yard, the sons hold themselves with a little bit of self-respect and restraint, I would say. Aber wie nur sie bleiben allein, but as soon as they are alone, springt heraus sehr verteilte Chutzpah, springs out their, I don't know what the word verteilte, but their chutzpah.
They're
Hidden,
hidden.
hidden.
They're hidden.
Yeah.
Their hidden aggressiveness. They haben on zu singen moderne Lieder und mit a heffeldicken Kol. They begin to sing their strange songs with a wild voice. Stuppen unter einem der Zweiten mit die Ellenbogens und winken mit der Größe feildicke Augen. So they begin to sing their with this very aggressive tone, and they stup, they push one another with their elbows, and they wink to each other with their big eyes. Ot lemoshel das Lidl, was sie haben beim Arbeiten mit den Taten zusammen gesungen, a bissele eingehalten und on besondere Havius.
Avayas.
Avayas.
That's Hebrew.
Kommt als sind a bolter Ausgelassenkeit. Hotch die Werte haben sich a hom nicht gebeten. So, for example, they the song that they sang while they were working with the father together, now they begin to sing in the abyssala. When they sang it with the father, it was a little bit more restrained and without strange effects, motions. And now it is with very obvious lewdness, lasciviousness, references to physicality, even though the words have not changed one bit. ist der Rebbetzin gegangen zum Brunnen und hat der Beitlens Horn gefunden, Itche Pitche Pora Odem, Vozje guckst du in Chaya Odem. So when the Rebbetzin, and now we understand this thanks to Yankov, we understand some of it anyway. When the Rebbetzin comes to the well and she finds the horns of the animals, and okay, wild man, why are you looking in Chaya Odem, in that book which describes the norms of Jewish life in terms that can be understood by the usual man? I'll read a little bit more.
Okay, Nechama, what did you say?
I'll read another paragraph, please.
If you
Yes.
want.
Ja, auf der Mann sich Moscheke, als in Javelik, redt men Tage von Boris' Bonnem, wie von gute Holtjakems, was seinen der Zeugen geworden, ohne Mamen, und se scheppen der Fall alle Mädlach von Gas. Okay, so now Moshika, he remembers that in Javelik, they talk about his sons, these good scoundrels, these Holtias. They were raised without a mother, and they Zachepen. Now here's interesting, the word Zachepen, he uses again in the same paragraph, Chepen, to touch, to bother, but here it's Zachepen, and they bother all the girls in the street. I don't know what the prefix za and to Chepen.
Yeah, I found it in my dictionary as to provoke, to annoy.
To annoy, and Chepen
And
alone.
and in
Yes.
my dictionary said to get entangled.
Ah, well, probably both.
Okay.
He does
Yeah, so I guess
Yeah.
it's all of the above.
both. Wenn der Tate geht weg zu Mariv, lassen sie sich aus auf der Gas vom Teuer und winken zu alle Weiblich, was gehen vorbei und cheppen, there's the word again, cheppen sich mit junge Goyes und mit Dienstmädlach. So when the father goes off to Davin Mariv, they put themselves outside in the street near the gate, and they wink to all the young women that go by and bother the young Gentile girls and servant girls. Tomel zucht ze a balabus a yid ein bolt, in the case that some Jewish balabus says something to them, Effenen ze oifa moil, they open a big mouth, as men muss von ze antlaufen wie von schwarzen Pfeffer. I'd like to know what that means. They open a mouth so that you have to run from them like from black pepper. I guess because black pepper is so harif, so bad.
It's a
Mm.
spice. It's a very hot spice that
A very
Strong.
hot spice, a strong spice. Boris' Bonim seinen mit der Zeit geworden an alte Zora in Gas. With time, his sons became a real problem on the street. Uit welche men beklagt sich schon nicht mehr beim Taten mit de große Augen. So they become quite a problem on the street, but they're not saying anything more to Boris with the Bora, with the big eyes. Und der hört men etwas wegen a Skandal auf dem Schulgas, weiß men schon, oh, weiter Boris is Bonim. And they know that when they hear something about a scandal on the Schulgas, they say, oh, another, again, Bora's son, und dabei bleibt es. And it remains just that way. Just like so many things here, they comment on it, but nothing is done. Nothing is done.
Yeah, remember,
Okay,
I said that this family is not purely Jewish, and here it is. The sons don't go to Maariv Friday night. The father goes, and they stay back, and they bother young girls. This is how he slowly shows us that this family is not completely into religion, and perhaps not completely Jewish, as we will see more of it. This is just the beginning of how Schneur tells us, look, this family has mixed blood.
well,
whole
it's the dark, also the
and-
dark skin. The dark
And yeah, the
skin.
skin now in the coming lines. Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to read
Yeah.
more of that?
Well, I'll read, or maybe Golda wants to read now.
Okay, Goldele.
Sein Bauer, die große Augen, ist in Häufneta und Zipke, seine Schwester aufeinander Mammen, läuft raus den Sturm, reden zu ihr. When Bora, with the big eyes, is in the yard,
Is not in the yard.
it's not in the yard, and Zipka, his the little sister from another mother, runs around, runs out from the house. The boys say to her, die erwachsene Brüder, groblich beis, sagen sie, die Stiefschwester. Zahanke, Zigeinerke, avec, Zahanke, zu der Mammen deiner geh. And the two grown-up brothers who were so coarse and angry, they run after her, after the stepsister, and they call her Gypsy, go away. Gypsy, go to your mother. Sahanke go, epis wie allein, die erwachsene Brüder wollten gewinnen weiß, sie gefallene Schnee. Gypsy, something like they themselves, the grown-up brothers, as though they were white as fallen snow. In der Emerson seien sie noch schwarze und abgebrannte wie Zipke. And the truth be told, they're even blacker and more burned than their stepsister Zipke. Zij is 6-jarige Schwester, their 6-year-old little sister. You have to move it.
Can I just ask the word Zigayenel? That's Zigayenel. That's the gypsy. But
Yes.
Why did they say Sihanke?
Well, that's probably the way you say it in Polish or Russian.
Yeah, I don't think that they use the G the same way we do. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
They don't. That's right.
Rak
They don't.
mejok si zu der Mammen. Look, they only rush her to the mother. The Mama ihre is aber ständig vernommen in der Balabatischkeit. But her mother is always busy, doing housework. Heint was soll a klein Mädel tun, wenn die große verhorvete Brüder willen mit ihr nicht spielen? Today, what should a little girl do when her big brothers don't want to play with her. Nudiet sie sich nebach, so she bothers them. Padiet sie achum and haif. And Padia, does that mean she runs around in the yard?
She wonders.
She wanders, okay, around in the yard.
She's bored. She's bored.
Zuchten alle lecha.
She is bored.
Bored. She's bored.
I know, but that's
Yeah.
what Yankiv said.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not no. Yeah,
she
yeah, okay.
amuses herself.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, Yankiv. Also hat sie sich einmal angestoßen auf Mäuschen, was guckt Jedne rein in Spalt von kein offenem Tierl. And that's how she once saw Maishika, who looked through the opening in through the chimney, the open chimney door.
No, the hardly
Barely.
opened door.
Barely open door.
Barely open.
Oh,
There's a little
of-
crack.
Oh, kein offenem Tierl, thank you.
Mhm.
Du hat sie aufgeöffnet, ein paar große Augen mit bunten Weißeln. Was tust du da? You? She opened a pair of big eyes with bunte Weißeln.
Striking.
Okay,
Striking lights.
what are you doing here? Ich guck, I'm looking, macht Moschike und betracht sie sehr neugierig mit seiner blauen Kuckels. I'm looking, Moschike says, and he looks to see, looks at her with anxiety, with his blue eyes. Kukas.
Cookers. Remember, we meant that word with the knitter lady.
Neugierig is
I was
curious.
just curious.
Curious,
Yeah, but
yeah.
what is cookers? Cookers is
Kukas is lookers. And
Yeah.
I take it to be nice.
Eyes, it is
Blue
eyes. Yeah,
eyes.
yeah, Golda is
Eyes.
right. Yeah, this is
cookers. I
guck
love
mit
it.
seine Augen. This is
They're
cookers.
blue, so you know it's his eyes.
Yeah.
Maischike mit seine feierreite Greiselig auf dem Kopf. Maischike with his red curly hair on his head. Mit seine vergoldete Wies und mit sein weißer Haut vom Penemel set Zipken aus wie a Chaie in an anderer Welt. Maishika with his bright red curly hair on his head, with his golden, what is Vias?
Eyelashes.
Oh, eyelashes. Thank you. And with his white skin on his face, sees Zipkas like an animal from another world. Tracht sie a Weile und geht plötzlich a Zug. So she thinks for a moment and she suddenly says, Weißt, mich ruft man Zipke. Do you know? They call me Zipke. Ich weiß, Borchit Maishike. I know, Maishike responds with annoyance. Und ich bin Kiva, dem Leckermachers. davon erkennen. And I am Kiva, the bakers here from across. Das kommen in Zavolik zu uns, will ich dir geben lecker. If you come visit in Zavolik to us, I'll give you cake. Zipke guckt sich at der Schreckene in tief von Heut und weiß, gets wo mit ein Finger. Sie wollen schreien auf mir. Zipke looks around, frightened. She's in the deep part of the yard, and she shows him around with one finger. They're gonna yell at me. Also seien beide fremde Kinder zugezogen geworden, einem zum anderen. And this is what happened, that both strange children were drawn to each other. Afria Shemevdik, previously embarrassed, mit der Fingerel and Mile, with the finger in the mouth, danach sichere und mutige, and afterwards more sure of themselves, and mutige. Brave.
Great.
Mutige is more cheerfully. I think mood it has to do with mood, with a better mood, more cheerfully.
I was
More
thinking-
joyfully.
Bis Sipke hat sich einmal der Weg und hat sich herausgegangen von Dempenem Teuer zu haben ein Spiel mit Mäuschen auf der Gas. Until Sipke once allowed herself to go without telling anyone through the gate, the Dempenem gate, to play with Mäuschen on the street. Es ist ihr sehr gefallen geworden, was sah große Räderjüngele von a gegenüber schämt sich nicht zu spielen mit der Kleininke, wie sie ist. And it pleased her to know that such a grown-up, a big Cheder boy from across isn't embarrassed to play with such a little girl the way a little girl like her. Dem Jüngeles neue Farben Kopf und Haut seinen euch sehr Chikava, and the boys new color from his head and skin were very peculiar. When Mäuschen haben Punkte sei zugezogen, die große schwarze Augen von Boris Mesenka. And Mäuschen exactly was drawn to her big black eyes from Boris's youngest child. Die bräunliche Haut, the brown skin, als so süße und warme, und such a sweet and warm and und das Schnirrele.
You skipped a
Und
line.
Schemmerdicke, die zugebrannte Honig auf Mama Steres Blechem. Such a sweet and warm and schmeckedicker and good smelling. See, like burned honey on Mother Steres Blechem on her baking tray. Und das Schnirrle getreute Krellen auf ihr Hälse haben zu ihm geleuchtet mit einer besonderen Frischkeit. And das Schnirrle with red curls.
The necklace,
Beads.
I'm sorry, I don't hear.
the necklace, a shirale is
The
a
necklace that
Oh,
she had,
and,
you know, it's a
and
real
her
touch,
necklace
that red
with-
necklace, that red
oh,
necklace is very beautiful.
with red beads on her neck. Were just let me just think for a minute. Were brightened with a separate Frischkeit, with a separate freshness. The right article in a good apple, like a red in a good apple, but I don't know, a red skin in a good apple.
You
Emily-
know, Golderle, other on the foot, it's a vein.
A vein.
Of
You know,
course.
Yeah, you know.
Of course. But I never saw a vein in an apple.
Yeah, but that's how he expresses himself. Maybe
Okay.
a red line, yeah.
Eenmaal had die meisje gebracht zu tragen een stukje Korenem lekker. Once Meisje brought her, carried to her a piece of cake, Korenes, a carrot cake, I think,
Right.
filled
No,
Rye. A
rye cake. Okay, rye cake filled with jelly, mit eingemacht, und hat damit Sipkin in ganzen abgekauft. And with that, Sipke was completely his. He was able to buy her with that piece of cake. Mit Abasunda Anua hat zugesehen, wie das Kind nackt, und with a separate joy, he saw how that child, want to raise it? How she enjoyed the cake, Pasmakovic, and she smacked her lips or something,
She relished.
relished the cake.
Hasmakovit,
yet
doesn't
not
it
up
sound
to-
like relish?
Na, jeden herabgeschlungenen Bissen hat sie kindisch gezeugen ausgesungen. But for every piece that she swallowed, she childishly sort of sucked it in and was singing. Sage, Geschmack, Geschmackheit. Oh, it's so tasty. Do you want me to read more or do you want to take a turn? It's
Yeah, well,
almost two.
do you want to read more?
No, I want you to have a turn.
Okay,
Today,
me too. See, I think this is the best love story I ever read. And I have the gelegenheit, the opportunity to read some of it, I know. כדי nicht zu bleiben schuldig, hat sie ihm noch fertig werden mit dem Lekach gebracht, a motig frischen Flachs von Speichler. So in order not to remain owing him for the cake, so after she finished with the cake, she brought him, I guess, a piece of the fresh hemp from the warehouse. Moshe
Flax. There were two
Flax?
items that
Flax,
they sold. Yeah, they sold flax and they
I don't know
sold
the
hemp.
difference. Thank you. Yeah. that
No,
is
but
true.
this is flax,
Yeah,
whatever.
flax. Okay.
Flax.
Okay. Thank you. Mosheke hat nicht gewusst, was zu tun damit. Mosheke didn't know what to do with it. No, כדי nicht zu verschämen Zipkes Matone oder das Hefelflachs hereingestuft in Keschene und hat ihr Feierlach zugesagt. Als עוד, wenn wird seiner größer, wird euch handeln mit Flachs und mit Paklie und wird kaufen, a große Maschine wird kaufen, a Sache größere wie bei ihr Taten. So, in order, he didn't know what to do with it, but in order not to shame the gift that Tzipke gave him, he took the bunch of that flax and he pushed it into his pocket, and he enthusiastically promised her that when he is big, he too will deal with flax and with hemp, and he will buy a big machine. And again, a big machine will he buy, a much bigger machine than her father has. Alle Englach von Gas werden bei ihm treten Paklie in machine. All the boys from the street will step or press hemp in the machine. Wer es wird abzahlen a Kopike, wird können treten, wie viel sein Herz glust. He who will pay 1 coin will be able to step or to press as much as he feels like. Und sie, Zipke, wird unter na Tichel mit Weidlach auf dem Kopf, Punkt wie die Mama ihre. And she, Zipke, she will wear a kerchief with, I don't know, Weidlach is tags. That's what you have on a callus, no? On her head, just
A very
like,
colorful piece, very
Oh,
colorful.
okay, just like her mother.
Mhm.
Und wird nähen die Säck mit Spagat. And also, she will sew up the sack with a string.
Mhm.
Zu der Dosiker Meloche wird kein Schum ander Weibel nicht zulassen, nur sie allein.
That's not a love story. That's two children that are playing.
Yeah, but this is but it is. Yeah, it is. It is. Wait, this is just the beginning. He to this work of sewing up, he will not let any other woman go to it. Only she will be the only one permitted to do that. Zipke ist gewesen sehr gerührt von einer Sackhoven, was Moscheke planen wird für ihr. Zipke was very moved by this honor that Moscheke is planning for her. Das Chenevdik Penemel hat sich hier zerstrahlt. This
Charming.
yeah, this charming face confused her.
No. Made her face shine.
Zerstrahlt.
Her face was beaming. She was,
Yeah.
she was
Yes,
full
she
of
was-
light.
That you are right. It's somehow, you know,
Gestrahlt.
this is what you
Gestrahlt.
get. You know what? When you get,
Gestrahlt.
yeah, when you look in the dictionary too much, you take the wrong words. My dictionary said confused, and I didn't know that I know this word without looking. Yeah, okay. No, in mittendrin hat sie aufgelost die schwarze Augen und hat sich verhäukelt. But in the middle of all this, she put down her
Lowered.
lowered her black eyes and became red. Aber früher muss man Chassene haben. But first we have to get married. He said he was talking about how she's acting like a married woman. So now okay, so now we have to get married first. Wegen dem hat Moscheke im Ganzen vergessen. Regarding this, getting married, Moschke completely forgot. He's only 8 and she's 6, yeah. Sie ist doch gerecht wie die Welt. She is right, like the world. She is right, of course.
Excuse me, this is an expression. Sie ist gerecht wie die Welt.
Yeah,
That means absolutely right. Absolutely.
Yeah, she's
Yes,
absolutely right. Yeah.
she's absolutely correct.
Ein Regele hat sich gerieben Back von groß Verlegenheit. For one moment, he rubbed his cheek out of great embarrassment. Noch bald hat sich gestarrt und zugesagt Zipken, als wie nur wird einhandeln die Maschine zu pressen Paklie, wird Mirzeshem stellen nach Huppe. Here he is already promising her to marry her. So he says, so right away he got stronger, and he promised Zipke that as soon as he gets that machine to press hemp, he, in Mirzeshem, God willing, will put up a chuppah. He'll marry her. Soll so gesund sein. Oh, he should only be well. Lekach zu der Chassene wird geben die Mumischere und Vetter Kive wieviel mevet badafen. And cake for this wedding, the aunt Shere and their uncle Kive will give as much as it'll be necessary. Feinmuschel geworden zwischen sich wegen der kommendike Chassene. They already agreeing about the Chassene. Feinmuschel, they already agreed.
They reached agreement.
Reach an agreement, right? That's better, yeah. They reached an agreement between them regarding the coming wedding, the future wedding. Is Moishke mit der verteilten Sodin Herzen avec aheim. So now Moishke with a hidden secret in his heart that he already has a color, right? He went home. Amod Nezach, it's a strange thing. Atzindotem gezeugen zu Zipken Asach starker wie früher. Now he was drawn to Zipke so much, a lot more than before. Hat gerät mit sich, wenn vielleicht bleiben einer allein mit seinen Plänen. He would talk to himself when he be alone. He would talk to himself about his plans. Und upon him, Zipke od punta zoi gebenkt noem. And apparently, Zipke was yearning for him as well. For him in ein kelblichen noch Mittag, wenn in Speichler ist schon geblieben nur wenig Flachs und die verhofete Mannsbill bohre die große Augen mit seinen Bonim und mit seinem Deutsch, seinen Ehrgeiz wo weg, hat sich Zipkes schwarzer und driebener gekräuselter Kopf bewiesen zwischen die grüne Ganekes von Zavulek. So, in one cool afternoon, when the warehouse remained, when in the warehouse there was less flax, and the overworked men, that's her brothers, Bore the big eyes, her father and his sons and his German, when they went somewhere, Zipke, the head of Zipke, the black head of Zipke, the black and small and curled hair of Zipke showed up between the porches of Zavulev. And lichtig bloi und schön getan ihre große Augen weißlach zu Moschken. I don't know why it's lichtig bloi here. Why
Right.
bloi?
Bright blue.
What did you say?
Bright
Bright
blue.
blue. Bright blue.
Yeah, I know, but
But the
where
white-
does I know, I understand it, but where does the blue color come from here?
Because I think in her eyes, I mean, we've read this before, the eyes, the whites of the eyes are blue. They're bluish.
Okay.
So
The-
it's the bright blue whites, the Weißle,
Okay.
Weißlin.
Okay. Sie hat ihm Stillereit herausgerufen, soll kommen spielen zu ihr in Ledigenhof. She quietly called him. He should come to play with her in the empty yard.
Mhm.
Und ein Spiel haben sie damals verführt. And they did have a game there. Wo sein Tam ist noch gestanden, Moscheken in die Beine a lange Zeit. And the taste of this playing, or this game, stayed afterwards in Moscheke's bones for a long time. Dahainu, namely, über die übergebliebene Kurves Paklier und Abfall von Flachs haben sie sich beide gekeikelt Bargarob. What did they do?
Over the leftover.
Yeah, I know. Namely, over the remaining heaps of hemp and the flax that fell down. The two of them were rolling. They were rolling down over this stuff. Eingesunken geworden in die weiche, kitzeldicke Chvaljes und zurück gekarabket sich. They like were drowning in the soft ticklish waves, and then got themselves out of it again. Kein schon Gefahr ist doch nicht gewesen. There was no danger here. Weich und noch gebig und trocken seinen gewöhnlich Walles. The waves were soft and noch
Dry.
Yeah, dry, but noch gebig is like
The waves.
yeah,
No,
but noch gebig is like it's like obeying kind of.
They gave in. They were
Gave in, yeah, gave in, yeah,
The
yeah,
waves
obeying,
were
giving, yeah,
inviting, or they gave
Yeah.
in.
They were pliable.
Yeah, they were pliable. They were not
Pliable.
stiff.
Oh, okay. There goes my teacher. Pliable. Okay. Yeah, but Nechama, what did you say for noch gebig?
No. They gave in. They were pliable.
in,
They
yeah.
were-
Yeah,
They
okay.
were. It was all very
Yeah,
soft
okay,
and pleasant
Okay.
and lovely.
Okay. Und spielen die so hat Moscheke ungehabt sein kleine Chaverte Pfarrer Heiser nackte Liedkele auf ein unbekannter Zither Liedkele. Okay. Und spielen die as they were playing like this, Moschke caught his little friend his little friend's leg. En dan una unbekannter Zitter hat ihm angenommen und verschüttet sein ganzen 8-jährigen Wesen. And then an unfamiliar tremble got all over him and shocked his entire 80-year-old being.